ESPN has gone way too far to disrespect Jaylen Brown, one of the best players in the NBA. Every chance ESPN gets, Stephen A. Smith and today Bobby Marks, they take a shot at Jaylen Brown. And today Bobby Marks tried to cover up his comments with some compliments before dropping a bomb that some analytics guys view Jaylen Brown as the 7th best player on an NBA team, which is just one of the craziest comments you're ever going to hear by a player that's number 1 in the NBA in the last 10 years and wins in the regular season and the postseason combined. We've seen ESPN, especially Stephen A. Smith, be like a mob boss towards Jaylen Brown, saying, "You don't want me to release all the information and all the things I know about you," threatening Jaylen Brown in a very uncomfortable way. And Bobby Marks, we know, works for ESPN, is a large part of their NBA coverage. And today on SiriusXM, he was bringing up the fact that Jaylen Brown is 109. They asked him about Jaylen Brown's trade value, basically, on the market right now. They said a lot of suitors got to be out there for Jaylen Brown, and he said not necessarily. There's a ton of mixed reviews on Jaylen Brown right now, and you can go listen to the 4-minute clip. He starts off by saying there's not a huge trade market for Jaylen Brown. Then he tries to squeeze in some compliments that he's an eye test guy, that Jaylen Brown's 191 and 80 over the last 4 seasons. But then he brings in, his negative analytics and what the analytic community does not like about Jaylen Brown. And quite frankly, the way the analytics are used in sports has gotten pretty ridiculous, because we know that Jaylen Brown was 6th this year in MVP voting. We know he won Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP a couple years ago. This guy has been a major contributor to one of the best teams in basketball in his career. And time again, analytics are viewing basketball from a numbers point of view rather than from the way that the rest of us watch basketball. And the way that when you're on the court and competing, the way that you see the game, the plays you make, your clutch factor, the way that you work with your teammates, the sacrifices you make, especially a guy like Jaylen Brown. So they brought up the fact that he had negative net rating last season, or over the last 4 years. And then last year, he was minus 10.6. His on-court, off-court was last season. Bobby Marks brought that up. And then he said that the analytics department view him as the 7th best player on an NBA team. There is absolutely 0 teams in the entire NBA that Jaylen Brown is not a top 3 player for. 0 of them. Jaylen Brown is probably a top 15 player in the NBA easily, and you could argue he's even a little higher than that with what he's been able to accomplish in the postseason. And if you can't view that the correct way, what he's accomplished in the playoffs, then I don't want to hear it. Because regardless of what your numbers say, regardless of what your advanced analytics say, which I think have some value, we've seen some good changes to the NBA in a lot of ways, and people take every opportunity they can to crap on analytics. And I'm someone that has defended it from time to time. You'll hear a lot of people say that analytics have killed the mid-range, or, any time that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits a big mid-range shot or Jaylen Brown hits a big mid-range shot, Chris Broussard will get on TV and say that the mid-range shot still should be more used and the analytics need to be ignored in that scenario. What I believe the analytics say is that if you're not a very good basketball player, it is more valuable for you to shoot dunks and three-point shots, because I don't want my mediocre 6th best player on my team shooting a ton of mid-range baskets. And that's okay if you want to focus primarily your PJ Tuckers of the world. If he wants to focus on, if he gets to the basket, make a layup, make a dunk, or stand in the corner and shoot a 3-ball. But where it does still come into play, the mid-range, is for your superstars. And it's because they can hit such a high percentage of them. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kawhi Leonard, Jalen Brunson, LeBron's a really good mid-range shooter. All these guys are really good in the mid-range still. Kevin Durant. It still has a lot of value and a place in the NBA. But your role players, it changed the way that they played a little bit. And that is okay. But using analytics as an opportunity to denigrate one of the best players in the NBA is really ridiculous. Jaylen Brown has been an incredible teammate He's done incredible things for the community, and I don't know why ESPN is so out to get him. We saw that, with the Olympics team in what year would that have been? Right after the Celtics won the finals, so I think 2024, they let Nike, it was widely speculated that Nike was the primary reason that Jaylen Brown was not selected for the Olympics basketball team. And this player and this man has been disrespected time and time again. And I've heard so many times Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown going back and forth, saying that they want to debate each other. Stephen A. Just taking shots at Jaylen Brown, saying that the organization doesn't like him, the way he's viewed around the league. And that's why when Bobby Marks makes these comments, even though he tries to squeeze in that he's an eye test guy or Jaylen Brown's record over the last seasons, even bringing up the fact that you heard that is ridiculous. Because let's face it, we know that you are given a lot of information if you're in that seat. If you're Bobby Marks, you're talking to a ton of scouts, ton of executives, coaches, players, whatever. You're talking to all these people. You get to pick and choose which information you disclose to the media. You disclose and say that you've heard. Choosing to bring that up, that an analytics guy thinks he's the seventh best player on an NBA team, you did that deliberately. You can dispute it all you want, and Bobby Marks went on Twitter trying to dispute it, but you still are the person that brought that up, and you brought it up for a reason. And it gets very frustrating. Listen, I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and there are times that I think that, the fit of Jaylen Brown, with Jason Tatum, you could potentially look at a move for a big man, and I wouldn't be that mad if they traded him. So this is not me, defending Jaylen Brown out of a biased perspective, but it is simply saying that this is still one of the best players in the NBA. Give the man his flowers for what he's accomplished. And you see, if you get on Twitter right now, you're going to see a bunch of analytics nerds who are, defending that take that he's the seventh best player on an NBA team and bringing up net rating and things like that. All I know is that when they were playing the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, Jaylen Brown hit one of the biggest shots in the corner to win Game 1. And when they went in the NBA Finals, Jaylen Brown was a steady contributor to a team that dominated in the NBA Finals. So really, you can miss me with the rest of the analytics, because we see a lot of players in the NBA that have tried time and time again to be the best player or second best player on a championship team and have not been able to accomplish it, and have not been able to break through and win that NBA championship. So many legends that we talk about have tried to win championships and not been able to do so. And Jaylen Brown was a major contributor to his. That team was really good, yes, with Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Al Horford. All those players are really good. But Jaylen Brown was the first or second best player on a team that won an NBA championship, and that has to count for something. If it doesn't, then we no longer care about the results on the court, and we've lost the plot of NBA basketball and what we love about sports. Let's not get so wrapped up in numbers that we forget to remember wins and losses are the most important thing that we care about in sports. Unless you're the eighth man on the roster, then go get your bag. Don't worry about the wins and losses as much. But if you're Jaylen Brown and you've had the opportunity to win an NBA championship and what he's done for the city of Boston, he should hold his head high and not be attacked every time he turns on social media or turns on ESPN. It'd be very interesting to see if he ends up getting traded over these next few days. You start to feel a little bad for the guy with, it just feels like the industry is kind of against him. And, as a Celtics fan, that's very frustrating. This is a great NBA player. I can't wait to see what he does the rest of his career. He's had an incredible first 10 years with the Boston Celtics. That's all we got for you today. Appreciate y'all watching. If you love the NBA, don't forget to subscribe. Cyborg out.